Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. It's a glorious day here, and to everyone on Zoom, we can wave. So we are going to open up this morning with a song and Mark's going to put the lyrics on the TVs. And thanks to Mark, I learned that now Christina standing in our foyer, brought us this song to us, come whoever you are. And then Mark revealed today that it's a Rumi poem. So go figure. It goes like this. We'll sing it through twice. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Come, come, whoever you are. Sorry, they're not quite correct. Oh well, what to do? What to do? Do you have any more lyrics, Mark? Okay, well, we're going to sing through something. Here we go. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again. Come again, come, come again, come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again. Come again, come, come again, come, come, whoever you are. We'll get them right next time.
Thank you, Paul. Good morning to everyone here in our sanctuary, and good morning to everyone on our Zoom. Thank you for joining us today at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. My name is River Marie Hansen, and I get to be your platform assistant today. On this incredibly beautiful Sunday afternoon with many options for all of you, thank you for choosing to be right here, right now with us. For those on Facebook and social media, please check in at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies, and then silence your phones or put them on airplane mode and listen for a higher calling. I'd like to introduce our guest musician today. This is Paul Schwartzer. Paul is a regular here at Unity. Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Our guest speaker today is David Gardiner, the co-founder of Bodhi Mind Center. David has taught in the Colorado College Religion Department since 1998. Specializing in Buddhism and the religions of China and Japan and related fields. In 2009, he co-founded Bodhi Mind Center in Colorado Springs as a nonprofit educational organization dedicated to sharing Buddhist principles and practices with all who are interested. We welcome you back to Unity, David. And now I'd like to share our inclusivity statement. It is, Unity in the Rockies is an inclusive community. We welcome all people, races, gender orientations, and relational orientations. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we welcome you here. And now our mission statement that we get to read together. We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation. Okay, for those of you who are with us for the first time or the second time, welcome back. We are so glad that you're here and look forward to supporting you on your spiritual journey. Please know that after the service, if you go down that hall, we have a fellowship hall with lots of good food and coffee and conversation. So we welcome you there. Today's announcements. These lovely flowers on the platform and these down here were rearranged by Donna Grant and myself. In celebration of my 70th and a half birthday today. Thank you. If you would like to bring flowers for our Sunday service and recognize and acknowledge yourself or somebody in your life, then please sign up on the bulletin board or yet let your lauder know. Thank you so much, Rose, Reverend Rose, for hosting your inspiring morning meditation this morning. And if you or anybody here would like to host a Sunday meditation, then please sign up on our bulletin board or talk to Marlene Milner. Okay, and I would like to actually have Marlene come up and talk about the Board of Trustees nominations. Please welcome our Marley Milner.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, I just love you all. Look at those faces and smiles and brightness. Oh, it's nothing more beautiful. And I'm going to invite you to think about joining our board. We are in the midst of getting candidates. And the thing that I wanted to share with you today is when I was on the board, one of the really great gifts was that I got to see a group of people work together applying the principles of unity. And, you know, we talk about stuff all the time. We know what we need to be doing and how we can be loving and all that kind of thing. But when it comes down to, you know, dollars and cents and things that aren't agreed upon, to keep that consciousness going is a beautiful, beautiful witnessing. And if for no other reason, joining the board perhaps would help you on your journey, integrating the principles into everyday living. So I invite you, we are looking for people that have a heart for us and have gifts that you'd like to bring to the board. So if you are interested, could we have the current board members please stand up so that people can talk to you if they need to? We've got, and turn around so everybody can see who you are. That's good. These are people you can talk to if you're interested in or joining the board. And how about the nominating team? Are we here? I'm here. Beth's not here. David is not here. Susan Anderson, are you here? She's not here either. Oh, well, I guess I'm the only one. If you're interested, please come and talk to me.
Thank you, Marley. And now, yay! I'd like to ask Patricia Yeager to come up and talk about the Fellowship Hall renovation.
Good morning, everyone. I am Patricia Yeager. I'm a board member, and I can tell you that we do practice the principles of unity at all our board meetings. So please do come join us if you have a yen to make this church all that it can be. So I'm also the chair of the Fellowship Hall Dreamers Committee, and we've been meeting since October. The board has asked that we make the Fellowship Hall much more lively and modern so that we can rent it for parties, for bridal events, funeral events, and this could become a source of income for the church. So we don't just snap our fingers and the fellowship hall becomes lovely. We got to get through a process. And I'm here to talk about the process we're going to go through this month. And I'm asking for your prayers, for your blessings, for your support, your energy, because one of the things that we're going to be doing is really cleaning out all of the storage areas of the church so that we can see the space that we have. We got to paint the closets, so you know what, in the fellowship hall, so you know that means things have to come out. We want to release that doesn't fit, that doesn't serve us, and give it to other people. So the month of February is going to be 2 goals. One is cleaning out the cleaning out the closets in the fellowship hall. And the other one is we're going to be freshening the former bookstore area so that it is inviting and usable for all who need to use it. That we hope to accomplish by the end of February. The reason I'm standing before you is to ask the teams that have things in storage to consider coming the first or second week of February. We're going to have work days where we're going to be cleaning out, releasing what we don't need. At the end of the week, we will have ARC come up and pick up that we're going to release. As an example, we plan to release the couches in the back of the fellowship hall. So if anybody's interested in purchasing those, come see me or give Yolanda, better yet, give Yolanda your contact information and we'll call you. But check your email because we'll be putting out information about this important first step. Once we get all this cleaned out, then we can really begin to plan some renovations for the fellowship hall that will make it a joyful place for a bride to have a rehearsal dinner or their reception. Anybody would like to come and use it, and it will be great for all of us. There's so much energy in this church, and there's so much newness, new things that are coming that we want to release and make space so that those new opportunities, new people can come and be a part of our space. We see our church as a progressive, inclusive, spiritual community, and we want the building to reflect that. So thank you. You'll watch your email for this important and exciting, I hope, announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Lost and found. We have so many water bottles and drinking things, quite the collection. And so please check out the new Lost and Found location located in Fellowship Hall on that metal cart near the refrigerators. Any items not claimed within 30 days will be donated to charity. And I think we're probably going to mark dates on them, right? Is that the plan? Okay, the Daily Word. We're collecting new and old copies. So if any of you have new or old copies that you'd like to donate, bring them to the office administrator on Sundays or during office hours. The Sacred Women's Circle has been so active lately. We've been getting together 2 or 3 times a month. And on Thursday, we had our full moon drumming circle, and yesterday we created vision boards as visual affirmations for the new year. You can find all our future activities on the e-blast, on our Facebook page, and on the bulletin board. The Unity Basics class is scheduled for next Sunday, February 4th, from noon to 1, right here in the sanctuary, led by Dr. David. And the Unity New Member Orientation is scheduled for Sunday, February 25th, from 12 to 1, with Linda Anthony. Oh, who is it? Oh, just David doing that? Okay, with Dr. David facilitating. Unity New Member Orientation. Thank you, Linda. Good Grief. Our support group for people grieving a loved one is meeting today at noon, right here in the sanctuary, and all are welcome. Anyone who's experiencing grief from a loss, please feel welcome to join us. As a reminder, you can find out more information on all of our activities here at Unity in the eBlast newsletter and on our Unity Facebook page. And our final announcement, as seen from the International Space Center and from the most distant stars, we are the light on the mesa.
Here we go. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Ray, and I'm a prayer chaplain. And our second prayer chaplain that will pray with me today, or with you today, is Carol Crossley. We are available to pray with you after the service, both in front of the sanctuary in our new prayer room off of the lobby. Whether you are in a place of celebration or challenge, please take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Also, written prayer requests can be placed in the prayer box in the lobby at any time. And I'm reading from the Daily Word. The word for today is free. Divine wisdom, love, and strength guide me to freedom. While I may not be able to control what is happening around me, I have the power to choose my response. Even though it may be paradoxical, assuming complete responsibility for my reactions and choices is key to my freedom. No one and nothing can make me feel a certain way. Living from this awareness gives me the power to create my life from the inside out. I choose my thoughts, words, and actions. If I don't like what my life is showing me, I have the power to make new choices. I do not squander my spiritual freedom. Other people and worldly situations have no control over me, taking full responsibility for my life. I am free to create my future by living from my divinity. Our scripture for today is, as servants of God, live as free people, yet do not use your freedom as a pretext for evil. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 16.
This is a song by Peter Mayer for January. It's called One More Circle. We have been weighed down by sadness like a stone, and we have yearned. We have sometimes felt so utterly alone, while we turn, we've been stricken by the wonder of it all, stricken dumb. We have sometimes felt so faint we want to fall, overcome, but all in all, I'd say this year in flight together has been fun. What say we make one more circle around the sun? We have raised our fists in anger, and we've tried to work it out, that we need each other, we cannot deny. There is no doubt, let us weave another dream in outer space, while we're turning, on this planet home that holds our human race. Still we're learning, but all in all, I'd say this year in flight together has been fun. What say we make one more circle round the sun? I'd say this year in flight together has been a good one. What say we make one more circle, one more circle round the sun?
Can you all hear me okay? Okay, good. Paul's an old friend of mine. Well, he's not that old, but we're actually the same age. We've known each other for maybe 15 years, and he's a hard act to follow. He's a really good singer. It's wonderful to be here. I've been here many times in the past. I was close friends with the former pastor, Ariana, and we were together in this column in the newspaper, some of you might have known, The Independent, In Good Faith, and we shared meetings over that, and she would often tell me, David, your thing is due last night at 7 p.m. And then we did recordings for a while, and when we did recordings on a website, actually, we used to meet at Paul's house sometimes to do our recordings, because he has a recording studio. So we share friends, and lots of love and joy. I've missed you over the years. We've kind of gone separately. I'm glad we can meet today. And it's really good to be here. For those of you who don't know me, I got a little introduction earlier. So I do teach at Colorado College, and I'm a professor of religious studies in the religion department. And in CC, we don't teach a course on world religions. We're unique as a religion department that way. If you want to study a religion, you study it as an entire course. So I teach courses in Buddhism. I teach courses in the religions of China and Japan. We have someone who does Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, African Americans, and Black religion in America. And then each of us does theoretical approaches to religion. I do an introduction to religious studies. I do something called the power of religious imagination. I do spiritual poetry of Asia and a variety of things like that. So my specialty is in the Buddhist tradition. and I read classical Chinese texts from the Tang Dynasty, 6th century to 9th century, in the original Chinese. But fortunately, I have modern Japanese scholarship to help me understand the ancient Chinese. And then I write in English, so I publish and speak in English. When Dr. David sent me an email back in September asking if I could teach, the time he asked me was in the fall, but I'm going back and forth between New York and Colorado to help care for my mother-in-law in New York. And I couldn't teach talk here when he wanted, so he suggested January, and we picked this date. So I'm really glad to be here. And I looked up on your website and noticed that there's something for this year as a kind of theme, root and reboot. And I asked him if maybe I should chime in on that theme, and he said, sure. So I'm going to riff on it a little bit, to use a jazz metaphor. Because I operate as also the leader of a nonprofit organization that was mentioned in my intro, that I co-founded back in 2009 as a 501c3 federally exempt nonprofit, blah, blah. We do get a few donations, and people who donate a good chunk of money can, benefit from tax-free donations. But what it says is we're legit in the eyes of, the feds. And that looks good on your website, if you like the feds. If you don't like the feds, it may not look so good. So I want to talk a little bit about my relationship to that organization. But first, I just want to mention, actually, there was something in the Rumi lines that you mentioned that was intriguing to me. And like many good spiritual teachers, Rumi says stuff sometimes that you don't understand at first, or maybe even at last. He wrote that we're lovers of leaving. I would expect him to write lovers of living, but it was leaving, and that's a really interesting phrase. And I'm going to just say a couple things, but I don't pretend to know what he meant, okay? And in my course on poetry, I also tell students, when you read a poem, don't come to class thinking your goal is to know what it means or what it says. If this poem had a specific meaning, it would have been written in prose. Often when you ask a poet, what did she mean by her poem, she'll say, it just came to me. I'm not sure. Images, words. Lover of leaving, I don't know what you guys might think, but I think it means sometimes the ability to let go. To let go of different stages of life, different old ways of thinking, old ways of being, even being able to love death, which is the big leaving, right? So I don't know, those are just some thoughts. We always want to go somewhere, arrive somewhere, get something. And what do we think about leaving? Can we love that as much? That's one little possible take on that. And it reminds me also of something someone else said here, about how you guys are cleaning up storage and stuff here. Bodhi Mind Center used this building post-pandemic for about a year. We rented this space for our Tuesday and Thursday meetings. And we had storage here and there, including in your bookstore over there. If you find any meditation cushions when you're looking in your classes, we've lost some over the years. I think either they fall out of the back of my van when I'm transporting them, or, to be honest, sometimes I think someone walks away with one. To be honest, they come to our meetings are free, donation only. We lose them, and that's okay, we'll replace them, but we're missing a lot right now. So, speaking of leaving, we left here, and we might have left something behind. So, okay, the theme, root and reboot. I'm going to shift the language a little bit to the metaphor of root and branches. And with that, I'm going to speak a little bit about the Buddhist tradition, my relationship with the Buddhist tradition, and how, as the co-founder and director and main teacher of Bodhi Mind Center, I've tried to navigate the past and the present and the future. And I'll be honest, it hasn't been easy for me because I have some issues. Let's leave it at that. I'll put on my glasses here. So I have some words I put together. And I'll look at my notes and look up at you and alternate. So, I teach. What does that mean? It means sharing. It means clarifying. It can mean provoking and nurturing. Also grading. And reimagining how to do it all and to do it better. I'll be honest, in my 25 years at CC and 4 years before I came to CC, I don't think I've ever been fully satisfied with the course I taught. And when I have to teach my Buddhism course yet again, my wife says, why are you spending 15 hours this weekend revising your syllabus? You've taught it 50 times. And I'm like, because it's not yet perfect. Do you know? I'm always eager for new ideas and new visions, and I'm ever trying to stay creative and responsive and responding to needs, and there are many on many levels. But of course, a teacher does not just teach, it's a give and take profession. You make what you can, it's that kind of vocation. I love it almost all the time. I wouldn't trade it for any other profession. I wouldn't mind a little more money. My older brother, a stockbroker, used to ask me, how come I have only 1 degree, you have 3, but I make twice as much money as you do? And I said 2 things. 1, you make 3 times as much money as I do. And 2, you know the answer. That's the career you wanted, and this is the career I want. I wouldn't mind the money, but I don't complain. I feel lucky to be doing what I do. And I teach what I love. I teach courses in religion, religions of China and Japan, which I know well, Buddhism, which I know very well, and I feel very fortunate to be able to teach like that. And I teach about ways to understand and to imagine human religion and human spiritual life. Many students at Colorado College, and I think at many colleges and universities these days, increasingly come without a religious background. That wasn't the case 30 or 40 years ago, my elder sort of senior colleagues have told me. But these days, if you show hands of how many in the class know firsthand, either through someone else's tradition or their own, what's it like to be part of a tradition, less than a third of the students raise their hand these days. Whereas 30 to 40 years ago, 95% either belonged to a tradition or knew about one through a friend or relative. That's changed. Have you ever heard of the category of nuns? That's not monks and nuns, that's N-O-N-E-S. That's people who claim, check, no religion, none of the above. And many of them are actually suspicious about religion. They think Buddhism somehow is cool, and the other religions kind of suck. You know, and I have to correct them. One of my favorite reviews that I've seen in the teaching reviews online that students give, what's it called, Rate My Teacher or something like that, is that Gardiner likes to talk about Jesus. And he quotes Jesus often. And I'd never thought about it, but it's true. Because I like Jesus' quotes, and I think about that. I was raised Christian at a young age, and there's a tremendous amount we can learn from him. So I try to help students see that Christianity has power and beauty. Islam has power and beauty. The monotheistic traditions don't suck. You've just seen some negative aspects of them, and I'm going to show you some sucky parts of Buddhism. So, right? Buddhists lie sometimes. Buddhists can be corrupt. Buddhists can use their powers in unhealthy ways. And they even engage in sex inappropriately. Imagine that. The leaders do. Right? They have, and there's abuse. And they have weird ideas about reincarnation and magical powers and XYZ. So they've got all the stuff that other religions have. You just haven't seen it yet. Right? So anyway, I try to share that kind of stuff with them so they can think a little bit more broadly. I hope that they don't leave my class hating Buddhism, but I hope, because my point to them is that you can study any religion and leave with something deeply inspiring about human history, your knowledge of history and the tradition, and some lesson that you can take into your world view that helps you both move forward for yourself, but also helps you to see the beauty in the lives of others. I like to help teach them the power of empathetic imagination. I think it's a deep intellectual skill. It sounds empathy, imagination, like it's woo-woo. It's not. That's how we learn. If we can learn to understand what makes other people tick, and we can begin to imagine what it would be like to be that person, that's key to making this world a better place. And I think studying religious traditions is one of the best places to cultivate an empathetic imagination. So I actually promote that as an intellectual skill. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it is. As well as critical inquiry, plus retaining some knowledge about when the Buddha lived and the names of the different traditions, and most importantly, the pronunciation of Sanskrit and Chinese vocabulary. Very important. Yeah, pratitya samutpada, things like that, yeah. However, after being at CC for about 4 or 5 years, people in the community started coming to me and asking if I could give a talk at a church, give a talk at a yoga center here and there. And at First Congregational Church, about 18 or so years ago, after a talk I gave kind of like this one, someone came to me and said, "Can you teach meditation to our community?" And I hesitated. I said, "I'm a scholar. I'm a professor. I don't do that." And she said, "Okay, do you meditate?" And I said, "Yes." "Can you teach us just the beginnings, foundation?" I'm like, "Okay." I went once. They said, "Can you come back again?" Every Tuesday at 5:30, I was there. And before 2 years had ended, we had 25 regulars. And they were saying, we now have a community. We're a Buddhist Sangha, which means a church. And I said, no, we are not a Sangha. I am not your pastor. They said, okay, but you're our teacher. And I'm like, oh, shit. you know, one of them said guru, and I said, definitely not guru, But I am their guide in learning Buddhism, and I felt a responsibility. So then a Buddhist monk came to town, and hundreds of people came to the various talks he gave, and he said to me, you need to establish a center. I'm like, you mean like your center in your name? He said, I'll have nothing to do with it. This is your job. I'm like, oh my God, I already have a job. Do you know? That pays well. So anyway, I started Bodhi Mind Center. I'm not qualified in the traditional sense. I haven't gone through certain hoops to get the qualifications and whatnot and permission of a Buddhist monk to be a promoter of his or her lineage. But I know the traditions well enough to pass them on to the best of my ability and to help people navigate the waters and occasionally to learn new things, and maybe some of the things I share inspire. So I like what I do and I love it. But I've struggled with trying to transmit what I know of Buddhism in the modern world, because I've hesitated to present Buddhism in its full religious display. Some people in the modern world who are interested in Buddhism say, oh, it's not a religion. And I even know people who belong to Buddhist communities in this area who have been respected teachers in the Buddhist community, teaching meditation and Buddhist thought for years, if not decades. And I've talked with them, and they've said to them, Buddhism is not a religion. And I just wonder what they're thinking. I know the history of the tradition maybe better than some other Buddhist teachers who know doctrines and meditation. Come on, you've got sacred scriptures. You've got people who wear robes and bow down to Buddhist statues that are 10 feet tall and gilded in gold. You have people giving contributions to the monks and nuns to support their lives. You have huge temples where people gather on a regular basis. You have lines of scriptures on the wall that are treated as holy scriptures, and you don't just take them off and read them. You touch them to your head before you read them, and you never put them on the ground because they're holy. And you have beliefs about what happens after you die, and beliefs about enlightenment, and beliefs about supernormal powers that are achieved from the practice of meditation. I think it checks the boxes of whatever you define as a religion, it's there. But the problem, and it's a small problem in my view, not a big one, is that many people interested in studying and practicing Buddhism these days don't know the history, or they kind of want to jettison it. They just want to take certain parts of Buddhism that work for them and call that their Buddhist tradition. And I think they have every right to do that. But they have to call it their Buddhist tradition, not the Buddhist tradition, because historically, I would say it's a religion. Now, whether the Buddha intended that is like asking the question, did Jesus intend what came out of Christianity? And we'll never know. The answer is probably not in both cases, right? But I have found my own solace, sustenance, joy, energy in following some of the religious aspects of the tradition. I don't believe certain things in the tradition are true just because they're in Scripture. In fact, Buddha taught us not to do that. He said, don't believe what I say. Don't believe what I say if it's put down in print. Figure it out for yourself. Make sure it works logically for you. Make sure it works in your experience. And then check with people whom you respect to see if they think so too. And after all these ways of inquiring, you've decided that something I taught rings true for you. Then you can say that it's true, but you're speaking from your own truth, not quoting me. He said, don't quote me. We don't need people quoting sacred scripture saying this is true. There's enough of those in the world, and they tend to cause trouble and divisions and strife. He was very clear on that point, and I followed that point very clearly. Just because something's in a Buddhist text, I don't believe it. That doesn't mean I don't think it's true. I'm not going to say that it's true. Like, I don't know if enlightenment is possible. I don't know that reincarnation is real. There are enough stories of reincarnation that I find reliable and even verified by modern psychologists at the University of Virginia who are medical doctors. And so I think it's likely the case that many people are reborn. But what is enlightenment, I don't know. But the teachings that have been passed down to me and the rituals that I have learned to associate with the teachings, such as saying certain prayers that express my gratitude for how the teachings have been passed down generation after generation. How in 21st century America, in Colorado Springs, do we still have Buddhist teachings alive that are 2,500 years old? It's because people cared to pass them down. I'm very grateful, right? And there are expressions of that gratitude. You can chant a certain phrase, right? It's only because of my teachers that cared to preserve these teachings over generations that I have come to encounter these teachings. Thus, may I dedicate whatever virtue comes from my practice, that future beings may have the fortune that I have had. That's a prayer. I chant it in Tibetan. I learned that when I was 23. I will never forget it. I chant it after every meditation. Should I chant that when I meet with my Buddhist meditators at Bodhi Mind Center? I hesitate, and I always have. But in the past year, I've changed my mind. I've had a rejuvenation. I've had a reformation. I've had a conversion experience. During the pandemic, we went into Zoom mode, and a lot of the people that we used to meet with don't come anymore. And we have a slightly new group, and as we've reconvened in another space not far from here, a lot of younger people, which is good. And by younger, I mean like 40, 30, 40, right, 50, instead of our usual crowd, which is sort of like 60 and up, right? I can kind of see that's common here. And we want the younger people, and I see the potential for new energy emerging. Maybe not what it was before. We used to have regularly on Tuesday 50 to 60 people coming, and we had hired a nonprofit consultant to try to do a strategic plan to raise money to buy our own place, and then the pandemic hit and it all fizzled out, and we're kind of starting from scratch. And when we first started coming into in-person, I had to leave to go to the East Coast during my sabbatical to take care of my mother-in-law, so I was not here during that first in-person session. A friend of mine was leading things here. And now we've moved our place, but now I feel that I've decided I need to bring in to the community what makes me thrive in the Buddhist tradition, and they can love it or leave it. Excuse me. But what I mean is the rituals and the meditations and the kinds of teachings that come from traditional sources that smack some people as being religious, but that are the core of the tradition. And I don't want to diss anyone else that teaches Buddhism another way, because there are many ways to do it. But I found that I have to come from my strengths, because at the moment I'm the main leader of the tradition. And if I don't come from my strengths, I'll always feel compromised and as if I'm only half present. So in the past year, I've had this kind of change of heart. And come spring, I have to go back at the end of my current teaching mode, which is in 2.5 weeks, to the East Coast to pick up my wife and mother-in-law and puppy, and get in the car and drive back to Colorado to teach until the end of the school year. And during the last few months of the school year, April, May, and part of June, I'm going to create some new, more traditional modes of practice and learning that will launch my new vision for the center. So I don't know if it's reconciling roots and branches or not, but I'm making sure that our branches are well rooted. And for me, that's a new thing. So I'll end on that comment. And I thank you all for being here. You're welcome. Here, there.
All right. Thank you so much, David Gardiner. And now is the time for our offering. This is that sacred tithing time when we take what we have to give and fill it with love from our hearts. So whether it's metaphorically or you have it in your hand, hold it to your heart. And with all of your love, fill that sacred tithe, knowing that it will serve this community and our beautiful city and this continent and the world. And the affirmation of abundance is divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
This is a song by Peter Mayer called "O Sun," with some really nice imagery. You are the sun, I am the dew, gifted with life for a moment or two, that I for my time may sparkle and shine. O sun, come fill me with you. O sun, come fill me with you. You are the sail, sun, you are the wind. I am the sail, you are my strength, and without you I fail. Breathe but a sigh, and I'll open wide. O wind, come fill me with you. O wind, come fill me with you. You are the wine, I am the cup. I can yield nothing till I am filled up. Hold me upright and pour forth your life. O wine, come fill me with you. O wine, come fill me with you. O wine, come fill me. O wind, come fill me. O sun, come fill me with you.
Thank you, Paul. And now all of us get to bless this beautiful sacred tithing. So with our hands and our hearts, we bless each and every tithe. Thank you. And I notice we have a couple of children in our sanctuary today, and I would invite them to come up if they please. You can bring your adult if you like, so that we can do a children's blessing. Yes. All right. And Tiffany?
All right, let's rub our hands together and get that energy flowing. And now we offer a blessing for the children of our community and the world. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine beings you are.
Here we go. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love.
And now for the prayer for protection.
The prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
All right, so please stay in your rows. You're welcome to stand. You're welcome to join hands because we're going to do the peace song.
Here we go. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment